Hey everybody, what's going on? So, let's talk about this Linda Sarsour lady. She's a Muslim chick who's part of the Women's March against Trump. You know, you might have seen some pictures of women dressed up in vagina suits shortly after inauguration. You know, so you know they're a particularly high, you know, strand of modern day intellectuals right there. You know, if that's how you protest, you're going to dress up as genitalia. You know, it's just this gaggle of fucking idiots. Whatever. I was just thinking about it. So, yeah, she's in some hot water now because she was talking to the, I believe it's called the Islamic Society for North America, ISNA. There'll be a archive link down below to the article. You can read up on it yourself. And, you know, she's getting a lot of flack because she said that she wants to have a jihad against Trump, jihad against America, and she wants to, you know, not assimilate at all, and there's no reason for us to assimilate. You know, our culture is great. Why would we want to change it? And people are surprised, and they're shocked, and they're just like, oh my God, you know, how could you possibly say this? A lot of people are just like, what is going on here? And I'm just like, listen, they've been saying this shit for years. This isn't a surprise anymore. If this is a surprise to you, you haven't been paying attention. You know, Muslims are not here to, you know, embrace the Western experience. They're not here to assimilate into our societies. They don't like our societies. They think our societies are degenerate and flawed, and they want to conquer them. They think it would be better if Muslim society, if Muslim culture, if Muslim civilization displaces Western way of life. There's no incentive whatsoever for them to, you know, join us, so to speak. You know, the Muslims who are coming over now, they're not immigrants, they're colonists. You know, this is warfare. I know if that's extreme, people want to call me fucking an extremist, whatever. That's just the truth. We're at war with Islam, and we haven't realized it yet. It has very little to do with our foreign policy, and that's absolutely not a defense of our imperialistic ventures into the Middle East. But you know, you have Boko Haram in Nigeria. What foreign policy does Nigeria, you know, have that oppresses Muslims? You have them causing a big fucking revolt, frankly, just a revolt in the Philippines, where Duterte had to crack down and declare martial law, I believe on Mindanao, which is like the big southern island. Kind of looks like a horseshoe, I guess, whatever. They do this shit all over the world. You know, it's not our foreign policy that causes this. It's not a defense of our foreign policy. Our foreign policy was barbaric, stupid, and completely waste of time. But it's not the cause of it. They hate our civilization. They're at war with us. I know we didn't want to fight this. I get it. You don't want to admit that, but it's just the case. It's what you have to start thinking about. So, I just like to... Well, I really want to put this out for classical liberals who say shit like, you know, they'll integrate into our societies, or... No. Like, that's something else. Here's what I want to hammer down. You know, we are not going to get them to reform. That's a bullshit, desperate, you know, plea on your knees. Please change. Please stop killing us. Please stop raping us. Please, you know, don't hurt us anymore. Change your ways. Why? They're far more confident than us. They're far more confident in their way of life. They're far more confident in, you know, their religion and their culture and their society. What's the incentive for them to turn around and say, hey, we're gonna, you know, go join these barbaric, degenerate kafirs in the Western world? You know, why would they do that? Why? The freedoms? They don't like the freedoms. They think the freedoms are evil. They think the freedoms are against the will of Allah. A lot of them are against the will of Allah. I mean, they're not wrong. So, the only way a Muslim can ever fit into Western society is if they're not a real Muslim. They're not a good Muslim. You know, they don't pay attention to it. And that's very rare. There's virtually none in the Middle East anymore. Very few in Muslim societies. The only times you ever see those Muslims are, you know, not in groups, like one or two in different countries, because they have to go away from other Muslims. And you know, I think people need to start realizing this state of war that we're in, realizing that we're never going to get these people to calm down. They're always going to be a problem. We need to cut off Islamic immigration, and we need to start repatriating them back to their host countries. I know repatriation is a big, sticky topic, and I wouldn't apply this repatriation to any other group that's coming to the United States. I don't think it's strictly necessary for the most part. But you know, no matter what your priorities are, you know, Islam is opposed to you. Islam is your problem. You know, if you're like a white identitarian or something, it's a religion of mostly, overwhelmingly non-white people. You know, and obviously there are some white Muslims, of course. I guess Albanians. I guess technically they're genetically Turkish, whatever. But so obviously there's some white Muslims, but it's, you know, more Muslim immigration does mean more immigration from non-white countries. If you're a liberal, you know, if you're a liberal, you like the Enlightenment and you like things like liberty, they will never ever change to, you know, like you'll never get them to believe in, you know, the separation of church and state. There is no separation of church and state in Islam. The mosque is the state. Those are the same things. You know, it was a religion largely codified in like the late or the early medieval period, after the Arabs had conquered a huge swath of territory. And they had, you know, had a command over very different populations, very different groups of people that had very different cultures. And they needed a way to consolidate power and rule over this vast empire of theirs. So they created a totalitarian system that would subvert all individual identity. There's no individual whatsoever in Islam. You're simply the tool of the Prophet. You're the tool of the conquering warlord, Muhammad. And lost my train of thought. Yeah, so they cannot be secularized. They don't believe in separation of church and state. They'll never believe in freedom of speech. You can't criticize their holy book because their holy book is infallible. There's nothing wrong with their book. They strongly believe that. We people have got to wake up. We are sticking our dick in a hornet's nest here. And they're telling us. I'm not putting words in their mouths. Hear it from herself. She said, we will not assimilate. We will launch jihad against you. And oh, by the way, when she says jihad doesn't necessarily mean violence, she's totally true. Jihad, you think of jihad as more like forceful change necessarily than war. But obviously war, you know, is forceful change. So a lot of jihad is war, but doesn't necessarily mean it. So the thing is, that's still not good. In fact, in some ways that's worse, because if they just started shooting people, you can't deny that. You know, you can't deny people just picking up Kalashnikov rifles and slaughtering people. You know, even the most obtuse leftist can't deny that anymore. But in a way, the soft jihad's kind of worse, because it's a lot more insidious. You know, you can say, I'm going to launch a jihad against, like, the Department of Education or something. And the purpose of this jihad is to whitewash all of the crimes of Islam, all of the mass murders, all of the conquest. You know, it's mankind's most successful totalitarian system that is, you know, responsible for a bigger body count than communism by several times. I think the total body count for communism was like 100 million. Muslims have something like 600 million. You know, granted, they were around for a lot longer, and it was when the population of the world was a lot smaller, but that's still quite a fucking achievement. So you can say, I'm going to launch a jihad against the, you know, Department of Education. I'm going to change it. You know, going to whitewash this all. And in a way, that's even more insidious than just shooting people. So just because she's saying, oh, jihad doesn't necessarily mean violence, it means spiritual, personal struggle. She means political struggle. She means political activism. She means changing our system and getting us to live de facto under Sharia. You know, they don't have to outnumber us to eventually have us living under Sharia. We're not in that place yet in America. I would say we're a decade or two off from having to deal with that. But a lot of places in Europe, they're in that state. You know, if you saw this video of Tommy Robinson and that fat British faggot, what's his name? He's always complaining about guns in America. Oh, God. What's his name? Piers Morgan. Fuck that guy. You know, he holds up the book. He's like, look at this book. There's 100 verses where it says, you know, kill the non-believer or something like that. And he freaks out. He can't handle it. He's just, oh, please put it down. Be respectful of your religious beliefs. It's like, when would you ever, like, you would never say that about Christians. You wouldn't even say that about Jews. Like, you pull up, like, I don't know, the Old Testament or some shit. It's like, they'd probably agree with you. Most Christians would probably agree with you. Yeah, it's some dumb shit. We don't follow that anymore. Muslims don't. They would shoot you, or they'd kill you, or they'd wait for you to go to sleep and then kill you, or they'd wait for you to forget about it and then kill you, or they'd accuse you of Islamophobia, get you arrested, put you in prison, and then kill you. So yeah, you know, a lot of European countries, such as the UK, Sweden, for instance, they're already de facto living under Sharia. You know, if you can't criticize the Prophet, if you can't criticize the Quran, well, that's part of Sharia. If you can't do that, and that's what your government is enforcing, congratulations, you are living under Sharia. It's not, you know, a direct Sharia, I guess. It's not an overt. It's not obvious, but you are within all, with all meaning of the word. That is living under Sharia law, and I don't want that for our country. You know, I get it. We have a lot of divisions here. We're in a tight spot in America, but I'm hopeful that we can eventually patch things together. You know, I'm hopeful that we can eventually get these, angry groups calmed down, whether it's, regional lines or racial lines or whatever. I'm hopeful. I use the word hope intentionally. I don't know if we can turn around, but I know for a damn fact, we are not going to be able to do this with angry, zealot totalitarians flooding our borders. We have too many other plates spinning in the air right now. We do not have to start importing Europe's bullshit. You know, if the Europeans, if they want to do this, fine. You know, honestly, like, my priority is, the Anglosphere. I'm a bit of an Anglophile. I care the most about the Anglosphere. Western Europe, I mean, I care a lot about them, but it's up to them. It's their countries. If they want to live under Sharia, if they want to replace themselves with a hostile, totalitarian zealots from the barbarian world, aka the Middle East, so be it. You know, I'm not going to shed any blood for them. Not going to. I might be upset. That wouldn't be true. I'd be upset. You know, everybody likes croissants and shit. You know, I don't want to see France turn into a Islamic State. And Swedish chicks are pretty hot. You know, you don't want to see the end of Sweden. But yeah, that's about all I got to say. You know, a little bit rambly. Most of my videos are pretty rambly. So yeah, people are still surprised that this kind of shit happens. Listen, they're just telling us. They're telling us what's the truth. They're not hiding it anymore. Listen, we're here to conquer you. We're here to colonize you. We don't like your civilization. We're not going to assimilate. We are here to replace you because we think we're better than you. That's what they believe. And it is, it's a great sword of Damocles that's hanging over our head every day. We don't realize that whether we want it or not, whether we feel good about it or not, we are at war with the religion of Islam. And there's nothing we can do about it. And we have to get our act together. That's all I got to say, guys. Peace.